Hello everyone and welcome back to this Let's Play of Quest 64. In this video we're going to be taking on the boss, which is super exciting. It's been a long time coming. What you'll notice when I get there is that I'm actually over-leveled for the boss fight. I spent more time grinding than I actually need to beat Solvering because I want to be prepared for the next section of gameplay. After you beat this boss, you'll enter an area called the Dondoran Flats, and an adjoining area called the Glencoe Forest, both of which have enemies that are probably actually stronger than this guy. Not so much that they have more health, but they do a significantly larger amount of damage, and you're always going to fight them in groups. So I wanted to be prepared for that. Because I leveled that way, though, Solvering's not going to be able to fight me. He only has 228 points, and I'm just going to lay the hurt right on this guy. Now, while we're engaged in grand combat with the boss of Earth, or whatever the heck you want to call that dude, I want to take an aside and just comment on the really poor game design that leads up to you fighting any of the bosses in this game. Because of the way your character levels up, grinding takes hours and hours and hours and hours of your time. Because whoever designed this game decided that it would be a good idea to make all of your stats level up individually. Now, to level up your health and attack damage, you need to hit things with your stick, but that means you're not leveling up your magic, and if you're not leveling up your magic, then you're not hitting things with your stick. So to level up your magic and improve your mana, you have to cast spells. Unfortunately, the only way to increase your defense and agility, right, those are different too. To increase your defense, you have to let your enemies actually hit you. And to increase your agility, actually that's not that bad. As I've said earlier, you just kind of walk around. But that presents a large problem, because I spent like 3.5 hours grinding up to this point just so I could fight the boss and be prepared for the next section of gameplay. Which is dumb! Okay, tirade over. Let's get back to the task at hand. So as you've all seen, Solvering goes down without a hitch, and now I'm free to explore his lair and take his loot. None of it's any good. You get some bread and like a dewdrop or some shit. Maybe mint leaves, I don't know. Whatever. Our next goal is going to be to get back to King Scotford and return the Earth Orb to Dondoran so that their people can create glorious pots out of clay and till the earth for farms and be prosperous. Yes. Prosperous. Perfect. In the interest of saving time, I'm just gonna poof my way back to Dondoran. You guys can walk, I'm gonna poof. So we're here now. We're gonna turn in the quest to King Scotford and complete our first real storyline quest, as it were. Though I kind of have a hard time calling it a storyline quest because there wasn't really much story. We basically went into the forest and mugged some dude who had robbed some other dude. Yeah, that's about it. Woo! Writing. So I personally really dislike how they approach giving you the Earth Orb in this game because, while I know you get it for doing this, and I've mentioned it before, the king clearly states, as you're given this mission, that the kingdom needs the Earth Orb to survive and to prosper. But then, as soon as you're done with the quest, he's like, oh, take it. And now, you know, this kingdom's pretty much doomed because you've taken this thing. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. So, before we leave, we're gonna kind of go get some loot from the area behind the throne and from his bedroom. We'll take that. We'll reconvene once we get to the place after Connor Forest. You just go in, take a right. There's a gate. It's big. It's pretty. We'll continue our quest. Welcome to the Dondoran Flats, home of massive shenanigans and giant bullshit. The difficulty spike between the Connor Forest and this place is immense. If you're not emotionally prepared to just take it in the behind for the first few encounters, you're not going to have a good time here. In all honesty, some of the encounters here are probably a little harder than the boss fight with Solvering just because of their quantity. The enemies here have anywhere from like 90 to 140 health or something like that, and they poop all over you. That's one of the reasons that I did so much grinding before I fought the first boss, because I knew that this area sucked. Sucked. But it's not all bad. There are several spirit wisps along the road, and we're gonna take a detour in a second here that will take us to the shittiest place in the game. No, but for real, like I think it's called Glencoe Forest is the hardest location to get through, I think, because it's harder than this, but you also haven't had the time to really like level yourself up for it. They just kind of throw enemies at you that are several times harder than anything you've really faced before. I don't like it, but there are 5 spirit wisps in the forest, so it's kind of a you have to do this situation if you want to get your character to a point, you know, so he can be as strong as possible when he's FBGM later on. Getting into the forest itself is actually kind of a pain in the ass. You see, first you have to find a little ledge where there's a tree branch that you can run down, but it's not very well designed, so you kind of have to just dash at the wall until your character decides that he's going to go down the ramp and into the next area. Then it's pretty much a straight shot to the woods, except for the part where you have to fight giant evil birds that throw rocks at you, because why not? Once you're in the forest, you'll realize just how deep in the shitter you actually are. I'm going to give you a hint. It's really deep. Welcome to Glencoe Forest, where the only important thing to do is find all 5 spirit wisps. But because the developers hate you, the encounter rate is really fucking high. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is kind of assess the area. There's a big lake in front of you. There are 2 wisps near the lake. First, head to the right. Walk all the way to the back of the area. You should find the first wisp kind of next to a tree-ish. Then you're going to backtrack all the way around the lake and head to the left side of the lake where there's going to be another wisp, kind of where it turns. The third one is behind a tree on the far left of the first area before you get to this little kind of like a land bridge that goes, it's like a hill. Then you'll crest the hill, you'll see a cottage. There's going to be another who's-a-what's-it spirit wisp. Yeah, there, it's going to be there. It's going to be hanging out, floating on the outside. You can go inside if you want. I think there's a treasure box. It's not very interesting. Then you're going to go back outside. There should be a second lake, and near the second lake, there is the entrance to Blue Cave, which you'll go to later, and the 5th wisp, which is just kind of hanging out. Really what it's doing is chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool, and there's not a basketball court, but if there was, I'm sure he'd be throwing that too, until I show up. Anyway, once you get those things, you are more than welcome to get out. Just run, flee. If you've made it this far without dying, you're doing well. You're almost there. You just have to get back to the entrance alive. And unfortunately for you, escape spells don't really work in here, like the wings. If you have the exit spell, that might work. I'm not sure. Try it. It's safer. If you want to keep grinding, then walk back. That's all I got for you. That's it. That's all. Oh, damn, girl.